Hello Universes players, my name is Thomas Rayan Lewis and welcome to another Coping with Cardboard budget builds in a flash. This one will not be 25 minutes like Edshot, this will be in a flash and we're aiming for about 10 or 11 minutes. So today we are going to talk about Pike Trickfoot, Ferocious Priestess. She is a 6 hand-sized character with 29 health. Now she can be played on 3 symbols. She can be played on fire, she can be played on life, or she can be played on water. But today we're going to play her on life. And so let's talk about her enhances. Her enhances say, your turn, you gain 1 health. That might seem underwhelming, but when you look at the attack lineup in the Foundation Core, that will not be the case. And then the other enhances, if this attack's damage is greater than printed, it gets +2 or -2 speed. Spoiler alert, all of our attacks are going to have +2 speed, and then every single time an opponent tries to buff their damage, they're going to be -2 speed, making it easier to block. All right, don't forget she is a healer, and she's also part of Vox Machina. That will become important later, and let's get into it. All right, so let's get into the Foundation Core. So we're going to go ahead and start with the engine piece, which is a 3-diff-5 check named Recuperation Time. If you've been playing this game for more than a year, it's about to put a shiver down your spine. I did describe that. I'm keeping that. Okay, moving forward. The response, it says that if you have gained health, this attack gets +1 or -1 damage, which means you can actually make your damage more, or you can make your opponent's damage less. So now Pike can only do it on her attack, but that still means that she can say, I gain a health, recuperation time responds, I get +1 damage. Now that if you have multiples of these, they all get to respond. So if you have 3 recuperation times on the field halfway through the game and you go, okay, Pike, I'm going to gain a health, recuperation time gets to respond 3 individual times, meaning that this attack gets +3 damage. So that's very good, but we can make it bigger because we have other cards that gain health, such as Brief Respite. Brief Respite is a 1-diff-5 check that says enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. You gain a health. So again, we're just going to keep fueling that engine. But even if you can't fuel the engine, we have attacks that just do it on their own. So these attacks are going to get huge, but their Foundation Core just helps it even get bigger. Now we do have another card that gains health, but even draws you cards, which is Shameless Haggler. Flip, discard a card, and then you get to draw a card. So essentially you get to loot, but you also get to gain 2 health. So you still get the response for the recuperation time or any other attacks. Now, of course, if your opponent chooses to draw a card and gain 2 health, you get to do it again. So it's a very, very neat card. Helps you actually filter your hand a little bit and gains you health back. Now, our other combo is centers around Refreshing Blend, who, on the first enhance, it's a 2-diff, it's a 5 check, okay. But the first enhance says spend 1 momentum, gain 2 health. Again, it's that health back situation. She can survive a lot, but she also can fill recuperation time, but it's the second enhance, which makes her special. So the enhance says spend 1 momentum, ready a foundation that has not been ready this combat phase. So what do we have that works with that? Our first one is Air Force style. So Air Force style just says response commit. After your rival plays a keyword ability, and they play a lot of keyword abilities, you get to draw a card and gain a health. So again, recuperation time fuel, attack fuel, whatever it may be. But you can use Refreshing Blend, spend that momentum, re-ready it, and say, go ahead, use another keyword ability. I would love to draw more cards. But the big combo is Moment of Normalcy, a 2-diff-5 check, which essentially says enhance commit, return this attack to its printed speed or damage. This is a very, very good defensive piece, but Refreshing Blend saying you get to do this twice during their attack turn, putting their damage back to normal, and with your health gain, will absolutely nullify an entire attack string. So the Refreshing Blend Moment of Normalcy combo is fantastic. Now, there are other pieces in here that actually help support this further, but those are the key pieces in our foundations. Let's get on moving to attacks. So now, for attacks, our first attack is Jawjammer, a 4-diff-3 check that is a throw, which means that even if it's completely blocked, they're still taking half of the damage. It's a 2 high for 4 that says enhance, destroy a face down foundation, and this attack gets +4 damage. So at least it's going to be a 2 high for 8. With Pike, it's a 4 high for 8. And then if you have recuperation time, this throw becomes terrifying so quickly. So a very great throw and a very cool card. But let's get into the more unique ones. So the first one is Feast. Feast says it's a 4-diff-3 check, 4 high for 4 that says combo potato. Potato, if you don't know what that is, over here is going to say it's a 1 diff 5 check asset that says enhance. If it's in the card pool, you gain a health and build the asset down, which means that it's no longer in the card pool. You gain a health, which means that Feast also gets a response saying after you gain health, this attack gets +2 damage. Then on top of that, it says the combo enhance, this attack gets +3 speed. So make sure you play the combo enhance before you play the potato enhance. But with all of that said, okay, so you're going to get +3 speed from, from the actual potato. And then on top of that, you get to use the potato enhance, gain a health, it gets +2 damage. So now we're a 7 high for 6. But then Pike gets to say, well, it has more damage now. I'll give it 2 more speed. So now it's a 9 high for 6. But then you gained health, right? So then Pike gets to say, hey, 1 more health, please. Respond again. +2 more damage. Now it's a 9 high for 8. So it is a scary card, and that's not even using a single foundation, no recuperation time, 9 high for 8 coming for your face with the potato. So that's Feast, ladies and gentlemen. The next card is Extreme Methods. Extreme Methods is a 4 diff 3 check that is a 4 mid for 4. Not super scary, but until we get into the details. Blitz, spend a momentum. This attack gets +2 speed and +2 damage. And that's right, gain 2 health. So recuperation time, if it's other on the field, just makes this much scarier. But it's a 6 mid for 6. Again, the damage has been up. Pike gets to say, cool, let's go ahead and kick this up a notch. 8 mid for 6 at base. So at base, it's an 8 mid for 6 on a 4 diff. Again, stats are very scary. And then the response after this attack deals damage, draw a card. I don't know many people who are going to catch an 8 mid for 6, or very much they're going to try to half block it just to kind of quell that damage. So it's pretty likely you may actually draw a card as well. Now, one of their best attacks, False Visage. So this just says after you gain health, this attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. Again, very similar to Feast, right? It gets +2 damage, but this one gives symmetrical stats. So this is a 3 high for 5. Now, Pike is a healer, so she gets to use the Healer Blitz, which means gain 2 health. Yeah, and that works with the response, which means that this is now going to be a 4 high for 6 at base. But Pike gets to say gain health, respond again. Now it's a 5 high for 7. So at base, without any help again, we're at a 5 high for 7. Now, this is kind of crazy that these cards like Feast and False Visage can spin out of control, but we also have another asset called Soup, which just says enhance commit, your attack gets +1 damage, gain 1 health. So what does that read for this? If you use Soup with False Visage, that means it's going to get +1 damage, but then also it's going to get the symmetrical stats on top of that, which means there's +1 speed and +2 damage for every Soup used. So this gets out of control with whether it's with Potato, if you're building down, whether it's with Soup, whether it's with Pike. This attack is a very, very scary high attack. And meanwhile, all these cards are gaining you health back. So the next one is her ultra rare, Blessed Metal. It's an ultra rare that's very cheap because it's not as high powered as other ultra rares because sometimes that it can flex, but it's still a very good card for her because it just says if you've gained health this turn, it's Pike. You're always gaining health. You're always playing this on your second attack. You get to draw a card for free. If you're at max health, it means it's going to be a 5 mid for 5. And then that's just kind of an added bonus. But even then, a card that just says, hey, here's some damage. I get some health back. And, and with recuperation time, you can get more damage even anyways. This is actually a great card for Pike to have. Now, the final card is Spiral Blast. Spiral Blast is a 5 diff 3 check. It is Nezure 1's ultra rare. And it says enhance, gain 2 health. Shocker, I know. If you're at maximum health, this attack gets +2 damage. This is not unreasonable for Pike considering all the life gain that we have. So if this does happen, you get to gain 2 health and get +2 damage. Even if you don't, think about it like this. Spiral Blast says gain 2 health. Pike says gain 1 health. So again, with no help from our life gaining foundations, we still gain 3 health. And it has Echo. So you get to do it again. So you get to say gain 2 health. I get to gain 1 health. And so altogether, if you have this 1 momentum, you're gaining 6 health. Not to mention, if your opponent wants to build into deadlock, you get to take 2 cards for your momentum, add it to your hand, and then you can add up to 2 cards from your hand to your momentum if you want to. But again, it's up to So that is fully up to you. Now, that is it for our attacks. They're all super unique. They're super special. And I hope you just get to dome somebody for over 15 damage, because I think in this deck, it's super achievable. All right, everyone. And that's it. We're wrapping up here. So that is Pike Trickfoot on Life. I hope you like it. I hope you get to enjoy this more unique budget build. It's definitely a different take from all the other characters. You know, you get to have so much sustain, but also output so much damage. If you have any recommendations or any things you did differently, please let us know in the comments. If you look in the description, I also have my non-budget build, which is definitely non-budget, but it does improve this thing that she's already doing. And some of these unique attacks aren't there, but maybe you want to try them in there anyways, because some of these are insane. So let us know, and always keep coping.